Gallifrey gals, Gallifrey gals, Gallifrey gals. Welcome to our
Get down to business. I wanna know. Can you show?
Oh, now we went to two. I started with Mulan, and now we're back on now Tarzan.
I went back to Tarzan. Yeah.
Can you show me? Crazy stuff happening off camera. You know, Buck Wild over here.
Know what Kat has researched.
I want to hear
for all of the strike facts. How many Disney movies can we reference?
We can just keep trying. But no, we're not going to. Disney, you little stink butt. Pay people fair wages.
Dumb
shitheads.
freaking Bob Iger.
But when we're looking at statistics and the things that can, you know, the money that which is being asked for from WGA and from SAG-AFTRA right now, I think is less than 2% of what these CEOs are pulling in. I saw someone who tried to make a pie chart of it, and they couldn't because they couldn't get the number to show up on the pie. Like what they were asking for, they can't get it to show up on the pie, like on the graph. Because it's so little in comparison to what they bring in as companies as a whole. And again, what are people asking for? What are people fighting for? What are people standing up for? Fair wages. It's not that hard.
You know, there's protections on your how your likeness is being used, the kind of conditions you are asked to work in terms of like the amount of rest you're allowed to have in between work days, the number of hours you are allowed to spend in a work day, the protection against weather and
working past meal times where you've gone without a meal for 6, 7, 8 hours while you're on set. Like that stuff happens. And there used to be there are things called meal penalties where you get a little extra money if you don't get your lunch at a certain time. Those things used to not exist prior to the strikes that have happened. You know, and that's
the
big thing.
What we're talking about here today, prior strikes that have happened.
Prior strike.
That was a segue. Sorry.
Someone asked, no, that was perfect. Someone asked if we could talk about the previous strike where it's been 63 years since the WGA and SAG have gone on strike together. Back in the 60s, it was just SAG. It was not SAG-AFTRA.
Oh yeah, SAG-AFTRA is pretty recent, y'all.
2012.
Yeah.
Is when they combined. And I don't even know how to talk about that aspect of things.
That's a whole thing that
like a whole other pocket
they used to be separate unions and now they're one, and I do think that is better in the long run. But I remember when all of that was happening. I
remember when it happened, and it was like a big deal.
Because it happened 2 years before I joined. Because I joined SAG-AFTRA in 2014.
Okay, well there you go. I know it's been almost 10 years. I've just been a
union member for way too long for not. Do you know, I just recently broke even on being able to the money I spent on my joining fee. Just recently. That's how hard it is. You can be a member of that union and not be making any
There's
money.
a reason why I'm not in SAG yet, like SAG-AFTRA yet. I'm eligible, but I'm holding off because it is.
You should wait until you are in a situation where you have
where you're
to
working
join.
Union jobs, But anyways, so 1960, WGA went on strike first, which is what happened this go around as well. The Writers Guild, and they went on. Let's see, I wrote the date down of when they went.
And Kat has researched all this stuff, and I haven't. So I'm like, y'all, I am reacting as the noob here to this background information.
Look at that reaction channel. We're back.
You thought we were gonna be reacting? Guess what, suckers?
So January 16th, 1960, the WGA went on strike. Basically, they were asking for health and pension funds. The basic thing of, hey, can we get a little bit of like healthcare
from this? See, it's just like the Newsies. Okay.
This was against the, right now, what is it? It's called the AMPTP. What it is now. I can't remember what the acronym stands for.
Stupidest acronym. It is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers.
Okay, that's what it is, because back in the 60s, it was ATFP, Alliance of Television Film Producers.
Ah, got it.
So they were asking for an increase in wages, residuals to their work, and for health and pension funds. So basically, residuals are where you continue to make profit off of the stuff that you did. It's your work. You wrote it. You acted in it. Instead of getting a one-time payment, the more that it is shown to people, the more that it's seen, you still continue to get a piece of that profit.
Because it is continuing to make its own money. Yeah, so it's a
Yes.
profit share system, essentially.
Yes. That didn't exist beforehand. So people were not being taken care of in that way, which is not right. And it's a huge thing that they fought for. SAG stepped in, when was it? April 18th. So the WGA had been on strike for 3 months around
very
there.
Similar to
Very similar to right now.
Actually, it sounds
very
like.
similar. It's wild, the mirror, like, because we're basically fighting for the same things. The only thing that's been added on top of this is fighting against AI.
Yeah.
What a, we're in the future kind of thing to be involved in this. But that's like the one big difference of, the strike 63 years ago and today. SAG jumped in April. They didn't jump in April. It ended in April. They joined.
Copy.
Yes, my bad. SAG joined, I think,
they went
like
on strike
2 months in.
Okay.
They were on strike for 43 days.
Okay.
Because as it happens, normally, unfortunately, they will settle with SAG and the actors first because they want their actors on screen.
Well, it makes sense. Like the actors, things can kind of, in a lot of ways, keep going if the actors can work. And if the actors can't work, then that really halts everything.
Really halts it. I think I read that there was 8 major film productions that went completely, they just died because of the strike and everything that happened. They went on hold. And that's a big deal. And so WGA was on strike for 153 days total. Wow. That's almost 5 months. Wow. And SAG was a part of it for 43 days. So SAG's strike ended on April 18th. The WGA's strike ended on June 12th.
Wow. So SAG got settled with, but the WGA didn't for months more.
Yes.
Wow.
And I have a friend who, lots of friends who are part of the WGA, but a friend who is a strike captain and working his fucking ass off on the line every day almost. We were talking about this and he was like, I think SAG will settle before I think they'll settle with SAG before WGA. And I was like, oh, okay, like interesting. And then doing more research on it, it's like, yes, I can see why that is probably the case.
Because if something is already written, if you have the actors, you could shoot it.
You can do it.
It's just for new stuff that you need written. So it's easier to get going again if you can get the actors back.
Yep. So that could be positive for the channel if the SAG strike ends sooner than the WGA.
We can get back to work because we are striking because of SAG-AFTRA, not because of the WGA. Kat and I.
It's just now it's combined and they're fighting the force together. Which also, let's talk about the fact that Teamsters, UPS, and all that stuff,
they just got their deal.
They got settled.
They didn't have air conditioning in all of their vehicles. That's one of the things they won in this strike. Is that because they have those open doors? A lot of UPS trucks don't have the doors, probably so they can get in and out more easily. But I was thinking this is happening right now when it's literally 105 degrees outside. You're doing the physical work of driving around and delivering packages,
carrying packages, delivering them, the whole 9 yards.
In that heat, and there's no AC in your car,
And it comes down to things where they try to find any pocket they can to cut down on costs. So if you think, what's the thing with air conditioning? If you have an open door, Your air conditioning is going to
Yeah.
be pumping harder, therefore you're
Yeah.
going to be going through it quicker. Therefore,
Yeah.
you're going to be going through your gas quicker. Therefore, they're going to be paying more money for gas.
Yeah.
God forbid they have to do that out of
It's
the,
kind of like maybe
you know,
just put a freaking door on all the cars then. Like, I'm sure there's a reason there isn't one, but like, you have to get out
There's
and
somewhere-
open the
there's middle
back of
ground.
your, like,
there's middle ground there. There's no reason that they shouldn't have had air conditioning.
you should have air conditioning. That's like basic human right.
cars.
Come on. To have your work conditions be healthy if they can be, you know, and they
so
can
you're
be.
not melting.
Right.
Getting
You know.
a heat stroke while you're driving a 3-ton vehicle. Like, there's so many safety things that come into that. Like, there's just so much. But that was very exciting for Teamsters. That is super big. So congratulations to them. Fuck yeah.
Which also affects the film industry because
Yes, it does.
transportation departments are Teamsters. So anyone who is driving, crew or talent, everyone is, the crew is also talented. I don't want to actually use that phrase because I think it's dumb, but crew
Yeah.
or performers around for set to parking to set or anywhere, that's transpo and they're Teamsters. And other jobs they do as well, but yeah.
And that's a huge deal. And even before Teamsters were talking about going on strike, they were already standing in solidarity with the WGA because they have rules that if there's like at least 2 people picketing on an entrance, they don't have to cross that line. They can choose to not cross that line. And so there were already Teamsters who were doing that sort of work to stand in solidarity with the strike, which is huge. So we love that they got their stuff. And that's the other thing with this whole strike, especially in this day and age where so many people are able to really see it and hear about it and understand it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's getting out more, and I've now, like, Cartoon Network and animators are talking about getting unionized, which they absolutely should be. It's terrible that they haven't been offered that. And there's so much that they get treated poorly for as well. Animation and animators, it's seen as less in a lot of way.
VFX doesn't have a union.
That's another one.
And it's it's crazy. I don't know if it will ever happen, but they get treated very poorly. Very poorly. So poorly. Do you know how many times on set I have heard people say, "Nah, they'll fix it later." Like,
the VFX people, or they'll fix it in post. And it's just like, will they? Okay, I guess
they will, but it's going to cost a lot more. It's going to take
cost
them
so much more time.
Hours, and it's a
so
lot
much more when it could have been an easy fix on set or whatever the case may be. But I feel like seeing these strikes and seeing these people stand together in these unions, and I know people feel a certain way about unions, but I feel it's really inspiring to people. There are people now standing up going, wait a second, what the heck? Why am I not getting treated better? Why am I not making more of a fair wage? And I know that can be really difficult for some, like, companies, especially in smaller towns or this, that, or the other. It can be really hard. You could potentially be putting your job at risk and losing it entirely. But if it's possible for y'all to, like, stand up and stand together with the people who you work with. There's power in
collective bargaining, right? Because you are a group, and there's power in numbers, or strength in numbers. That's what it is. That's the same.
That's what it is. Strength in numbers. So it's just very cool to see the inspiration that's coming from it. Anyways, moving back into, no, we're good. So the SAG strike ended on April 18th, 1960. The Guild basically finally agreed to residuals, which was like the big thing that they were fighting for in 1960. And a one-time payment. This was my favorite part. A one-time payment of $2.25 million from producers to form a SAG pension and health plan. So a one-time payment of $2.25 million. $27 million Bob Iger pulls in a year, everybody. One person, one CEO, $27 million. people are not asking for that much. Like,
Yeah. And that pension is for everyone. And
everybody in the union.
I've never done enough work in the union to qualify to access any of that. I've certainly never qualified for healthcare. Can you imagine if I was making $26,000 or $27,000 a year doing acting work?
That's huge.
I would be freaking living a dream.
Yeah. If you were working that much, and
if I'm
again,
working that much, that I'm making that much money at it, and that's nothing. That's no money.
No, a livable wage in Los Angeles, California, is around $70,000 a year, is what they say. For perspective, I will be very blunt. I think that numbers and money should be talked about in a blunt way. Last year, Gallifrey Gals as a whole, before fees, any of that, with like, there's Patreon fees, there's all these fees that come out,
posting
there's costs that go
for
in
videos,
we have to pay Vimeo, we have to buy equipment, we have to do all of these things. So before all of that, Gallifrey Gals made $50,000.
Yay!
Which is very cool.
That's not even enough for one person to live in LA off of.
But it's not even enough for one person to live in LA. So to just like put that bluntly and put that out there, like that's, you know, so to be able to make, and that's the thing with like acting jobs and this sort of stuff, the money that you're getting paid, people see like $1,000 day rate and they think, and they're like, "Whoa, God, you're making $1,000 a day all the time." No.
I booked
one day.
So when I did my episode of Grey's Anatomy, it's a co-star role. I made about $1,000 for that day. I'm going to be really blunt with you.
What did you have to pay your agent?
Oh, my agent got 10%. My manager got 20%.
30% gone.
Taxes,
your regular SAG fees?
I pay to SAG every year. I pay about $300 in dues to SAG.
Okay. So a few percent like out of there?
Yeah, like what? Like 1% out of it or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it. That's the last time I booked a union television job. That was 5 years ago. So that $1,000, that's already been split,
was actually $500.
Was supposed
roughly
to last me until the next job. But the way this business works is it's not you just, the problem with pursuing something creative and artistic is that there is not a set path for how you're supposed to reach success in that field, right? And you just have to be, frankly, hoping to be in the right place at the right time, in the right amount of preparation, right? To get the opportunities to capitalize on, to make, hopefully, honestly, y'all, if you are booking 5 of those $1,000 a day co-stars in 1 year, you're having like a banger year.
And you're still not making the bare minimum to gain health care.
There's a lot of competition, first thing, for people who want to be doing this, and there's endless options for who can be cast, and it's difficult to get the momentum going to be able to do it. And even people who are working regularly, you know, like some people are like, but I don't understand the work that I do. Once it's done and delivered to the client, I don't make any more money off of it. So why are residuals fair? Well, in this industry, first of all, it's because my likeness is continuing to make someone else money. Therefore, I deserve a profit share of that. It also means that in those times in between jobs, which are part of being in the Hollywood industry, it's part of being a writer, it's part of being an actor, there's going to be time in between jobs. And those residuals are meant to help smooth that time over, because otherwise you have to go out and get a side job, which means you actually are less available for the acting work you want to do.
For the acting stuff.
And I know people who are like staffed as writers on shows. They're in a writer's room and they work a side job anyway, still, because of the in-between time. There's also a thing where a show, if you're a regular on a show, when you're not shooting, they're saying, well, by your contract, you cannot work on another show because you're a recognizable face on our show. But we are not going to pay you for your time when you're not actively shooting with us. So now you're telling me that I cannot take work, but you're also not paying me for the fact that I cannot take work. And residuals are meant to help
Are supposed to cover
that time. So that's what they're for. And when there's not enough of it, it's actually not covering that time. So now a job is saying, I am not going to pay you, but you also can't take another job.
What
So
the heck?
that's where it's just not the same as being a plumber.
Yes.
It's not the same as being a teacher. And so that's why the pay structure is different. And most people who are in SAG are not those top earners making millions of dollars movie stars. They're just not.
No.
Sorry,
and
I'm
there
going
are
off on
people
tangents.
No, I love
here,
this.
but-
It's total. The tangents are great. Again, skimming this and seeing all of the, videos of people talking about all of this, and watching and seeing the comments of people being like, well, then you just shouldn't be an actor, or you just shouldn't be a writer.
Fair. I guess we shouldn't be, but then I guess
Fair enough.
any of that wouldn't exist for anyone.
None of it would exist. That's the thing.
So I
It's
guess
like,
if you really like Stranger Things, maybe you should have a different opinion. I don't know.
I've got friends who have worked on, and are very recognizable faces, who on the street someone would go, oh my God, you worked on this show. You were like a reoccurring character who I loved really dearly. Oh, you were on this other show. Like, a well enough known face. And he had to go back to living with his parents.
Yeah.
Right now, because the last residual check that he got in was 9 cents.
Yeah.
9 pennies, y'all.
Yeah.
9 pennies.
I probably have a check somewhere of my last residual check for Grey's Anatomy, which has been great.
I was probably like 3 cents.
You really want a show that's in syndication, because you will get you'll get residuals off of it, and that's why booking something like Grey's Anatomy is great. But
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like $10, maybe. It wasn't as low as all that, but yeah, I think it was like, no, it was like $3. I don't remember, but it was too low.
Mm-hmm. Too low, not survivable,
honestly,
not fair.
Worth the money that the check was printed, not worth the paper that the check was printed on.
Yeah,
it's like, just why?
Which is crazy.
I'd rather just cut this.
So yeah, that's just more conversation on the strike and what people are asking for, and why they're asking for it, and why they feel, and in my opinion, are owed those residuals.
Yeah. And we wouldn't have a lot of the things that we have now. Again, like we said, access to a pension plan or healthcare opportunities that none of us qualify for, if it wasn't for that strike in the 60s. Yeah. So,
Yep. And so it was it was basically a very big deal for both of them to be going on strike at the same time, because we also know that the writers went on strike in 2008, 9. It was sometime
like
around
that.
there.
It was like
TV
100
got
days.
real bad for a little bit.
That's when we got all the reality TV shows. That's why we have so much reality TV right now.
Yes, but I'm also seeing reality TV people who are standing up and going, you know what? Why is it that we don't get paid? Because like, they're not making good money either, y'all. 2007. That's when TV got.
From November 5th, 2007.
A lot of shows went
to February 12th, 2008. It was like 100 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's it. That's the strike. That's the conversation about it. What the 1960s strike looked like and how that changed everything for writers and actors moving forward. And I think one last thing I'd like to talk about is that people also mention, like, I can't, people are only caring about these actors and writers, and, what about all the crew that are, being affected by this? The entertainment fund that we've posted in a previous link, that is for anybody who is affected by this strike in the community. So if you are a gaffer, if you are a boom operator, if you are it doesn't matter. That is for them to also sign up to get assistance and help.
Here's the thing.
But
we might be about to say the same thing. You say what you're going to say.
Y'all, if AI comes in and takes over, that's it. There's no jobs for so many people. You will not have makeups. You won't have makeup. You won't have hairstylists. You won't need someone to do lighting. You won't need someone to, their lists of jobs, gone.
If you don't have writers to write the content, you don't have anyone else to do any of the other things. Also,
Sorry.
whoa, if the actors the people whose faces are recognizable, the people who are cast in something because their face is believed to be the one that's going to get butts and seats in a movie theater, if they cannot get paid that they deserve, what makes you think that any of those other people are going to be able to get what they deserve when it comes time to renegotiate their contracts and their unions?
Yep.
So truly, these fights are paving the way for future fights. If we
For so
cannot
many
win
people.
right now, there's no way IATSE is going to win their shit when it comes time for their contract renegotiations.
Nope. And they need,
So,
yeah. Yep.
we need to win because
We need to win, and we
we
stand
have
in
to set a
solidarity.
precedent. And that's why the producers are fighting so hard against it, because they know it's going to set a precedent.
That's why studios like, it's all online, studios like Universal Studios, who are chopping down public trees to cut shade away from the sidewalks for people who are picketing. People literally had to come in and fight it with tree law. And we're actually kind of lucky that it happened in the city of Burbank, because Burbank has a separate mayor, and he said,
You don't mess around in Burbank. Burbank loves being beautiful.
You don't fuck with Burbank. They literally are, they have their, it's the wildest thing.
Did you know that we're Toluca Lake adjacent?
Did you
mess
know?
up our beautiful...
Like, guess what? We're not a part of LA. We're just Burbank. And you're like, what? And they're like, no, we're just Burbank. And you're like, okay.
We're city.
And Burbank mayor said, we're coming in, tree law, and we're about to charge them as much as we can. But here's the thing with that. They're doing these things that someone knows they're going to get in trouble for it. They rather pay a fee for illegally cutting some trees instead of just negotiating with people for fair wages, you know? And they had to bite the bullet and go and put, like, they had to go put tents and stuff out there. Like, Universal had to provide, yeah. So it's just, it's crazy. People aren't asking for a lot, and they're doing everything they can to try and avoid it and trying to hold out. They think people will cave. They think people will give up. And I think that they don't understand how tenacious people are and how ready they are to stand up for what's right. So.
And here we are along for the ride.
Woo,
trying
baby!
To set up a better future for ourselves, not only members of the union, but future members of the union. Yep. I will also say this, as a member of the union,
on us.
Some people are like, if you're not in the union, who cares? You can do whatever you want. Well, it's not very fair if you're saying, if SAG is saying you can't join SAG later, if it turns out you were a scab or crossed the picket line during our strike before you were a union member, that's bullying. Why would you want to be a part of that organization? Why would I want you to benefit from the things I fought for that you actively worked against? If you were, this might sound like fucking,
I don't care,
brainwashed rhetoric, but it is true. If you are actively undermining yourself and your own future if you are working against the things that the union is currently fighting for, because they are fighting for things that will benefit you down the road. And if you make it harder for them to win those things, it is going to hurt you later. That is why there are people who will do off the books non-union work when they're union. I do not do that. Would it be great to book that non-union commercial, hope to not get caught and make $3,000? Yeah.
Of course.
That hurts. That is actively what's making it harder for me to book a union commercial, because a union actor is willing to do a non-union job. Well, then why should they make any union commercials?
Are you?
So that's a sacrifice that we have to make to try and make things better for ourselves.
If
so
PAULA
that's why, as a non-union member, you should not be allowed in the union if you're actively working against it before you join. I'm sorry, that's what I think.
I mean, if PAULA is, PAULA is a part of SAG-AFTRA, and if PAULA is sitting there on strike, not wanting to promote struck content and do all of those things, and not want to book a job because they're not paying you the right things, and then if I'm just like, Well, I mean, who cares? Like, I'll just go in and take the pay. So I'm going in and telling them that I'll take shitty pay. They don't have to pay me better. I'll take whatever low bar they're going to give me because I just want to say I got the work. That's so shitty for me in the long run. You're never like you're never gonna. It's never gonna get better.
Door that you think it is. And
no,
like, look, if you have no desire to join the union ever, you do you. Do whatever you want. If you are a reactor who never wants to be a part of SAG-AFTRA, great. You react to anything you want. Truly,
whatever. It's totally fine.
Do it. But if you want one day to be a part of the union, you need to act like you are part of the union now.
Yes. And some people might not agree with that, but here we are to say it.
That's how I feel. As a member of the union who frankly does not benefit that much from being a member of the union. Like, it's hard to book work.
Renegotiate stuff and
it's hard to book work. But it's important and I'm proud. So
damn straight.
You know, I'm proud to be a member of SAG-AFTRA.
Well,
that's my card.
Hell yeah.
This is an old card. Oh no, it's not. This is my new one. Expires October of this year.
Amazing.
Just covering out my member SAG-AFTRA. Yeah, I'm very proud to be a member of SAG.
And one day I will be very proud to be as well. Like, that's, you know, I look forward to that day when it's the right time. And until then, and until the strike is over, I hope you guys enjoyed this very chaotic,
rambly. Y'all are used
talk
to this
about the strike.
Come on, what were you expecting when you opened it up? There was going to be a planned PowerPoint presentation? Kat,
no,
I will say,
just have a shitty notebook with.
On behalf of me, thank you for the sacrifice that you are willing to make for our channel to support me as a union member.
110%. No questions asked.
Emotional. Okay.
No questions asked. It was something that we didn't even, both Paula and I didn't even like really think about. And it was the day before our reaction to episode 22 of The Next Generation was going to drop that I sat there for a moment and went,
we're like, wait a minute.
Oh, fuck. And then I immediately, without second thought, it was, okay, we need to talk about this because I think actually that we shouldn't be doing this because I don't want to risk this for either of us.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And yeah, so.
Yeah. Absolutely 110%. Before my surgery, are you kidding me? So many writer friends. I was so quick to run to that picket line. I was like, let's go. Like, we stand for these things and absolutely. So yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you for supporting
I hope you enjoyed a little talk about some information chaotically spread out through the entirety of this video. Thanks for supporting us.
And it's
Thanks
complicated.
For hearing us.
And we appreciate, it's okay if you have conflicted feelings about it because everyone does, right? Like, it's complicated and we just appreciate you.
Why you had to go make things so complicated?
Appreciate you listening to us and supporting what we're doing. And yeah, we just appreciate you very much. So thank you.
Thanks, y'all. I'm going to now make Paula react to a very, very strange Japanese commercial series.
I can't wait. I'm here for it.
If y'all know, it's called The Long Man. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. That's it. And if you know, you know.
I'm about to know.
So catch your Gallifrey Gals next time as things get weird.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a little thumbs up, and if you want to be notified when we post new content, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell in the corner.